night. Welcome back. There's a knock at the front door a couple minutes ago, and I opened the front door, and guess who's standing out there? Well, step up, young man, and say something.
Hello there, Jeff.
That's it. That's better. Come on in, Jordan. Sit down.
Thank you.
Don't want you standing out there in the cold.
Freezing cold, yeah.
No, it's global warming. It's been 56 in the evenings here sometimes. It should be in the 20s at night. Forget it. It gets down in the mid-40s and that's it. So, yeah. Things are not like they used to be. Sit down. It's good to see you again.
Well, thank you.
What the hell you been doing?
Pleasure being here.
What have you been doing?
Questioning my sanity.
Well, you can question mine too while you're at it. Go right ahead.
Yeah. I have just been looking at the work I've been doing all these years since 1959. It's over almost 60 years I've been doing what I do, and I'm wondering, it's very difficult to continue to do what I do, knowing that so many people just don't get it. They don't really get the importance of what is going on in the world we live in. And I've tried to do the best I could without being offensive. I don't want to be, I don't want to be offensive to anyone. I'm just trying to wake people up to the reality that nothing in the world works the way you think it does. Nothing. And the more I now look into this, after 59 years of doing it, it's finally occurring even to me. The profound depth of how much of our life is based on lies. Virtually every facet of our life in this world is based on misunderstandings, miscomprehensions, downright lies and deception. And it is overwhelmingly obvious to me that every institution in the Western world, I don't care about the Eastern world, I care about my own country and the people. And every institution in our world that we live in today is corrupt beyond belief. And it brings up the question as to whether there's any hope.
You're right. Misinformation, disinformation, lies, deceit, reverse projection, the most heinous criminality and subhuman lack of morals you could even imagine is what we are literally looking at as our alleged government. That's all. That's it. It's all a lie, as Jordan said. Virtually everything we are told to one degree or another is a lie, a deceit, and a fraud. And I'm sorry if that sounds just a drop negative, but that's the damn truth. And if we don't look at reality, which is what Jordan's been trying to do since 1959, the year that Mario Lanza died, and the same week that Errol Flynn also died in October, you've been at this a long time.
Yeah, I have, and it's really cost me a lot. It's cost me a lot to do what I do. Believe me, very few people will realize the kind of cost that you pay when you go against the grain, when you go against the crowd. Wherever the crowd was going, just by principle, I would go the other way. Growing up as a child, I always went the other way. No matter what way the class was going, I looked the other way. And so when everybody else was trying to get in with the crowd and be part, I didn't want to be no part of the crowd. Everybody was going to the game. I'm going to the library. I want nothing to do with the crowd.
I was never a joiner either. I agree. I know.
So
you have a little cold, Jordan? A little cold in your throat there? Little something?
I think it's probably I've had problems with my throat and my lungs for a long time.
Well, you sound fine. It's just I can tell. There's a little something there.
Yeah, and I feel fine. I feel all right, but it's something that's been with me for quite a few years.
Yeah.
I have a problem with my heart and my lungs, and it's affecting my intake of air. And I know what it's caused from.
But Jordan, the only problem you have with your heart is that it's too damn big for one human being. You're an extraordinarily giving man, and we've known each other for a long time. And I have never met anyone who gives more than you and who has absorbed more abuse for the simple act of giving and sharing than you have. And it's the truth. You have been victimized. You're no victim, but you've been victimized. And I'm here to tell all of you listening that no one has given more to all of us than this man you're listening to right now.
Well, no good deed goes unpunished.
Damn right.
And I'm just amazed at how the world works. The more you try and help other people, the worse it gets. And the worse it gets for me in particular. And so...
You know the thing, Jordan, excuse me. I got to say one more thing here. The layers of deceit are really extraordinary. It's not just one layer of lies we're getting. This is being played on. We're being played on multiple levels all the time. And this is one of the places you can go and get a reasonably close approximation of reality, this program and this site. And I'm not saying it's perfect. It's not. But we sure do bust ourselves to try and make it as good as it can be. And it's not easy.
I totally agree. Totally agree. It's not easy. And when you go against the grain, you go against the powers that be, and you start talking about things that other people don't want to hear. And it's very difficult. I think it was Sinclair Lewis many years ago said it's very difficult to get people to believe something that their salary depends on them not believing it.
It's true. That's good.
Yeah, and so I told you a secret I've learned over the years. I mean, I'm giving you some secrets I've learned. One thing, and I've told you this before, I'll tell you again. People will always support financially and in every other way things they want. They will not support what they don't want. People will buy the clothes at this particular stores that they like to go to and wear the clothes they want to wear. And they will find, and it doesn't matter what it costs, they will pay whatever it is to support the store and buy the clothes they want to wear. They will not go where they don't want to go and wear the clothes they don't want to wear. The same thing is true in restaurants. People will go to eat where they want to eat, not where they don't want to eat. And they will buy the food that they want and not what they don't want. So the bottom line is people will pay and support what they want. They will not pay for something that they don't want. And the one thing that history has taught us, we learned nothing for the past 5,000 years, the one thing, generally speaking, not every human, but generally speaking, people don't want, and that is the truth. They don't want to hear the legitimate, provable, in your face, obvious truth.
No, that's where that expression, the inconvenient truth, came from. It's not convenient for most people. It gets in the way.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. And so therefore, the people who are doing really well in the world that we live in today, flying their jet planes around with their diamond rings and Rolex watches and making millions of dollars a year, those people are giving to the world what the world wants to hear. This is why you go on Sunday morning television and watch all the TV preachers talking about all the wonderful things the Lord's going to do, and the Lord's going to do this, the Lord's going to do that. And the people love it. They just can't get enough. And so therefore, the bottom line is this. If you can go on a television show or radio and tell people that what they already believe to be true is provably true, if you can go on and show people that what they already believe is absolutely the truth, and you can make them understand it and believe it, they will love you because they already know the truth. They already have it in their minds. And now you have come on as a spokesman and someone with authority, and you have shown them that what they believe to be true is absolutely true. They will then support you. They will be happy and delighted to support you, to hear what they want to hear. But if you come on and tell them, darlings, I'm sorry to tell you that everything you've ever been taught in your school was a lie. The whole entire superstructure of Western civilization is a lie. The whole thing. As a matter of fact, the human family on the earth has been born and raised into a world of lies. No matter where you live, it's corrupt. No matter what government you live under, it's corrupt. And the most successful ones, like us in America, the most successful governments are the most corrupt. And I'm just amazed at how many countries will do business with America, knowing how corrupt it really actually is. And my favorite subject has always been spirituality. I've always been interested in the spiritual matrix that we live in, and the spiritual stories that we are given in theology. And that's been my subject all my life. I have loved theology. I understand it well. I don't learn from, I don't look at the occult world to learn from it. I learn about it. That's a big difference in joining a church to fall in line and to believe. I have looked at religion to find out, where did it come from? Where did these ideas develop originally? Where do our ideas about God and religion come from? Well, it goes back into the ancient Middle Ages, the ancient times of the world, and we're still believing the same things we always did believe. And it's nothing but lies and deception. And of course, today we're beginning to see that more and more, whether we like it or not. People who are religious are beginning to see that the religions that they have are not working. You can call out to God, you can pray on your knees and crawl on your knees like they do in Mexico, crawl on your knees to the church and ask God to protect you and to take care of your family and to give you a secure life. And then turn right around with the wars and violence and revolutions and alcoholism and drug addiction and murder and and child trafficking and God knows everything else that's going on in the world. Just keep praying, and it's just getting worse and worse by the day. And the reason, and I like that quote from the scientist Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said the world is a very dangerous place. Not because bad people do bad things, but because good people don't do nothing. They just accept whatever happens and go with the flow as long as nobody bothers them, and their bellies are full, and they got their ball game and their air conditioner and their
don't forget the beer and the pizza. Yeah.
The beer and their ball games, that's the main thing, is their ball games. God knows. Have you ever wondered how many games in the Western civilization depends on a ball? I mean, they got baseball, softball, football, soccer ball, bowling ball, pinball, basketball, golf ball, volleyball, dodgeball, pinball, pool ball, billiards, cricket, rugby. All kinds of games are all based on a ball. This is why, my dad used to tell me when he would have adult family people coming over, he would say, go out and play ball. And I realized that term, go out and play ball, implies just go out like everybody else, you dimwit. Go on out there and just do what everybody else is doing. They're stupid and ignorant, and they're going nowhere, and that's what you are. You're stupid and ignorant, and you're not going anywhere. So go out and play and be a team player and be like them. And so I realized that people, generally speaking, do not want you to be successful. I've learned that a long time ago. People
that's
do
right.
not want you to be successful.
They don't like peer pressure. They don't like that. No, you're supposed to stay in the flock, stay in the herd. You step out of line, you're going to get your butt kicked.
That's exactly right. Yeah, but they always ask me, well, how many children do you have? I said, I have none. well, my God, you've been married, you don't have any children? No. And I asked them, how many people have wondered about my having no children? I mean, have you missed my children if I don't have any? My God, you got 7 billion out there. If I add 2 more, who the hell's going to know? So I don't need to have children. I'm smart enough to look at other people's lives
Mm-hmm.
and learn from examples. I've been around the world enough to know what life is like, and I have no idea in the world about tying myself down to a family at these last and final days of the Western civilization. I know what's coming. I know where we are, and I know where we've been, and I know where we're going. And I'm scared to death of the future. And this is another thing that bothers me. One of my pet peeves is so many people look at America today as if it's been here for 11,000 years.
Isn't that the truth? Oh, Jordan, you're right.
It's always been the same. You've always had a 7-Eleven. You've always had hospitals. You've always had baby diapers. It's always the way it's been. You can get fried chicken anytime you want it. Everything has always been here the way it's always been, so don't have to worry about it. Just have all the kids you want. Go on out and have 14 more kids.
That's right.
And, and it doesn't matter. There'll always be plenty of Pampers, and there'll always be plenty of diapers, and there'll always be grocery stores with plenty of food, and there'll always be great cars and football games. And the life has been this way for thousands and thousands of years. When in point of fact, no, the world you live in today with all the fineries that we live with telephones and entertainment and food, has not been here for thousands of years. And it could be gone in a day. It could be gone because any government that's more powerful enough to give you what you want is powerful enough to take it away. And so I know that at any day, at any moment, we could have a major tragedy hit the earth. We could have a comet or a volcano erupt.
That's right.
Anything that could disrupt the whole entire human race. The electrical systems can be shut down across the earth. And one wrong move by the sun, and our entire earth is shut down electrically.
You know what the Department of Homeland Security just did? They issued a warning that all American, and you know and I know, and most of you listening know, this is not a joke. They always tell us in advance. The warning, Jordan, was that all Americans must be prepared to be without electricity for at least 6 months.
Wow. Can you imagine that?
Nope. Take 1 week and we're back in the Stone Age. That's all it would take.
That's right. I mean, all business is dependent, as one writer,
it's done.
My friend, as my dear friend, what was his name, Joseph Farrell. Joseph Farrell brought out that all of our business on the earth is done by satellites. Everything is communication with computers and satellites. All business, spelled A-L-L, all. And if the sun does something, if it burps, we're going to have an enormous shutdown of
Chinese
power
hackers do something. They've already been to the central control of our entire electric grid system and left their calling card. They could knock it down. There are a lot of things that could knock it down. You're right. And we'd be right back. You dial 911, good luck waiting. Ain't nobody coming. You better be ready. And that warning from the Department of Homeland Security went by, and nobody paid much attention except us. And they were serious. They tell us what's coming. They tell us.
And the reason why is because they know they're going to make it happen. That's how they know it's coming, because they're going to do it. And and I remember a couple of months ago, I came across an article that said that New Jersey was dumping milk into the sewer. They were dumping the milk because the milk was so contaminated with radioactivity that they had to dump the milk.
When was this, Jordan?
This was a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
They said that on the East Coast, the milk was so contaminated that they could not let people drink it.
Uh-huh.
Now, my point being That's on the East Coast. What in the hell does that tell you about the West Coast?
Yeah.
It's got to have come past us and gone back to the East and contaminated fluids and foods so bad that they can't even eat it. It's so bad in New England. What about us? My God, it hit us first.
Yeah. And all the radioactive elements that come from these nuclear power plants, don't forget those, 60-mile radius around each plant. But Jordan's point is simple. It comes across the Pacific, in the water, in the air, in the weather systems, and it doesn't stop at California, Washington, and Oregon. It goes right across the country. In point of fact, within 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks, the dairy cattle in Vermont were showing radiation in their milk after the Fukushima explosions.
That's what I was talking about.
Everywhere.
You're right.
And it's still coming. Hasn't stopped. It's in the soil, it's in the grass, it's in the trees, it's in the flora and the fauna, wherever you look. The tide pools all up and down the West Coast now are dead or dying. You go up into British Columbia, 98% of them are devoid virtually of all the 6,500 plus species of life that used to inhabit the tide pools. It's gone. The North Pacific is dead, and no one will talk about it.
And the World Health Organization, a few years ago, I remember distinctly hearing on the news, the World Health Organization said by 2020, I think it was 2020 or 2020, somewhere in the 2020s, there will be no life in the oceans of the world, period. End of sentence. There will be no life that we can feed off of, that we can eat.
Right.
There will be no life in the oceans anywhere, period. No matter what ocean it is, don't go fishing.
All the seven seas. They're all
right.
You can find the radioactive nuclides in all seven seas now. It spreads everywhere. It's everywhere. Yep. Different concentrations, but it's everywhere. We're going to go through this break. Go ahead, Jordan. Keep going.
I was just going to say, and then if that's not enough, we've got the government of the United States spraying us with chemtrails. And the stuff that's in the chemtrails is falling to the earth on the plants, and the plants are consuming it. The animals are eating the grass, and they're eating what's fallen from the sky. And so we are now eating the plants and the animals that have been feeding on the chemtrails. So if we don't die from the chemtrails, we'll die from eating the food that comes to the earth. You know, our food is covered with chemtrail, and our animals that we
aluminum, barium, strontium. God knows what they're putting in there. They can put all kinds of biological organisms. They can put inhalable, swallowable, and drinkable, self-replicating nano machines, little devices that will take up residence in your body and act as transmitters and receivers. Okay? That's the truth. That's the technology we have. They will not tell us about it, but we've had enough programming here over the years. You know where we are.
Oh, God, yes. I've been looking at this for years. And then I think, too, the way the world is operating today with people with cell phones. Every kid in town's got a cell phone and playing games on the cell phone. And
having their brains fried on the cell phone. Shame on the parents for allowing this, of course. Their brains aren't even formed. They can't withstand the electromagnetic fields that are being pulsed through their brains. Every cell in their brain is being impacted. Their DNA is being changed. It's sick. Sick.
It is absolutely frightening. The implications are astounding. What are the implications of the world we live in? I mean, we didn't live through the fall of the Roman Empire. It was a great empire that fell. Well, New York represents the Roman Empire. That's why it's called the Empire State. It's the Empire State of Rome. Rome dominates America. Caesar was referred to as going up on the hill in the morning. And he would go up on the hill. Why? To officiate over the Roman Senate. And so it was said in the Roman that Caesar went up on the hill to address the Senate. And Caesar was doing this and that with the Senate up on the hill. But that's what we got today. We got goofballs that feel that they are God's sent Caesar to the world, and they're up on the hill. And what you don't realize is that the term Democratic Party, I don't care what you think about what I'm going to say, I'm just telling you the truth. The democratic process, what we call democracy, is actually a corporate democracy. It has nothing to do with the original concept in the Grecian Empire of a democracy, a people's democracy. We have a corporate democracy. And in point of fact, all communist countries officially have in their name of their country, it's called the official corporate democratic society. All communist countries are called democratic. We have the People's Democratic Republic of Cuba, the People's Democratic Republic of North Korea, the People's Democratic Republic of Yemen. We have the People's Democratic Republic. They're all communist countries. That's why we have today the Democratic Party wants the president dead. They talk about that publicly. We should kill the president. He's horrible. He's terrible. Why? Because he's trying to save the United States from what is coming. He's not stupid. I mean, he's proven himself to be wise and smart, and he knows where we are. And you don't have to have you don't have to be a genius to figure out where we're going when your entire superstructure of your government is corrupt, your religions, your educational system.
Yeah. You just said something really important, Jordan. Many things, of course, but especially, I believe that this display, this elementary schoolyard fight between Pelosi and Schumer and the Socialist Communist Democrat House and President Trump is devolved into such a Stone Age hatred that they actually do. There are many people who actually do want this man dead. They want him dead. They don't want to defeat him. They want him dead. I think that is clear. Yes.
They've said that publicly. The Democratic said he should be killed. He should be assassinated.
Oh, the dignity of government, huh?
Right. But when you study Marxism and understand cultural Marxism, when you understand, which most people don't, they have no idea in the world what I'm talking about, but if you understand the political background of what we call Marxist communism, you will then know the terms, the words and the terms and the catchphrases and the symbols that were used in the Soviet Union with the coming of the Communist Party in Russia. There are symbols and words and terms, just as you can see symbols today that you know represent America. You see the particular flag, you see the word USA, you know what that means. It's talking about the United States of America. Well, there are words and terms that are used by the Communist Party. And when you understand that, if you study it long enough, most people haven't studied, what I'm talking about for 5 minutes. I've been doing it for 50 years. And if you do study the symbols and the words and the catchphrases and the terms that are used by the Communist Party, you will see it is everywhere in Washington, D.C. The most obvious one ever, the one that was in your face and that even a child could see, was under Obama, when it said on all the newspapers across America, it's a new day for America with Obama. Obama brought to America a new day.
That's right.
If you go back and look at the Encyclopedia Americana, Britannica, or all the reference works in the library, go look up Soviet Union, and you will see the Soviet coat of arms, which was a sun rising behind the earth with a Roman reef around the earth, and the encyclopedias will tell you the sun rising behind the earth represents the dawn of a new day of world communism to take over the whole world. It's called the dawn of a new day for world communism. Well, when Obama came in, it was in all the newspapers and magazines. It was in your face everywhere. Obama has been elected as a dawn of a new day. Anybody who has more than 500 brain cells who has studied Marxism will know what we're talking about is the overthrow of the American Republic in favor of a coming dawn of a new day of world communism, a world prison of slaves, of people who have been, their freedoms are taken away, their knowledge has been taken away, their industrial basis for a living has been taken away. Everything they had, they thought they had, they don't own. It's all.
And Jordan, they're lining up for it. They're lining up for it.
The people love it. And I could show, and I've done that. I've shown people, here's what the communists said when they took over the Soviet Union, when they took over Russia, called it the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Here was the symbol. See the symbol? And what does it say there? It says the dawn of a new day for Russia.
Obama's logo. Sure.
And Obama's logo was the sun rising over the mountains of the east. And it says the sun represented the dawn of a new day. Wake up, folks. Obama was nothing more than a traitor to this country. He sold it for a buck. He sold it for money to put in his pocket so he could buy a $10 million home in Dubai while you crawl on your knees waiting for the end of your country. It's all been planned, and we love it. The people could not get enough of it. The people in New York were dancing in the streets. They finally got a Marxist-Leninist, Soviet communist operative into America. And, of course, if you go back and look at the political banners that Hillary Clinton's banners that she was running for president, said the dawn of a new day.
Yeah.
For Hillary Clinton, to put her in, will be the dawn of a new day for world communism.
And look Jordan, look at the left, liberal, communist, socialist Democrats getting the incredible media. They're getting constant exposure in the media now. This Ocasio woman. These people are out and out Marxists, communists, and they're getting the red carpet treatment.
Yep. That was one of the calls that the founding fathers heard. The redcoats are coming. The redcoats.
There it is.
Yeah, the redcoats were coming. And who were the redcoats? The British. The British were the redcoats. Why? Because Marxist-Leninism and communism was founded by international bankers out of London and out of America.
The City of London. Yep.
City of London. The corporate city of London. It's an incredible story of betrayal, and what is frightening is that the entire population of a country and of the world today does not seem to have the intellectual acumen to understand any of it. They have no idea what you're talking about. It's all a bunch of bull.
It has never stopped. Never stopped.
As long as they have their cold beer and their food to fill their belly, and they got the cold beer, they have no idea in the world what is coming to America.
I think you might have missed golf ball and ping pong ball, and don't forget matzo ball. That too.
Oh, that's it, matzo ball and cricket and
anyway,
badminton. And
isn't it funny? Here's a round orange ball that someone can bounce up on the floor and throw in the air, and it goes through a metal hoop, and they can be paid $20-30 million a year for how often they can throw it through that metal hoop. You think about that.
That's right. And the reason why is because our masters, the guys who run this planet from behind the scenes, they know, keep the people happy. Make sure there's plenty of liquor stores on every corner and
drug them into oblivion.
The price of liquor. That's it. Let them have plenty of alcohol and give them plenty of drugs on the street corner. They are into mainlining drugs. Just drive downtown Los Angeles. It's all there. In all the big cities, there are nothing but gangs and all kinds of criminal gangs that are selling drugs. The entire Western civilization, like the Bible has Jesus saying, by their fruits you shall know them.
Yeah.
What is the fruitage of our religion and our government today? What is the fruitage of believing in your churches what you believe today? What is the fruitage? The fruitage is we make ourselves feel good. We make ourselves feel holy and good by going to church, never realizing
we're conning ourselves. It's a con. These are all cults. They're not religious organizations in the sense that we think of a universal God or a universal consciousness. Not at all. This is all created and contrived by corporate entities and staffed and manned by and large by a cult of pedophiles that runs the gamut. 2,000 years of running the world through the churches. Pedophilia.
And that's why today churches are divided into denominations.
Yeah.
20s, 50s, and 100s. That's what we call our money.
There you go.
In denominations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because the churches are nothing more than a corporation, a business. It's a dirty business. But it's a business.
Deadly dirty business.
It's a very ugly business because it has not only robbed you of what you thought you had here on this earth, but it's robbing you of your future. You have no idea in the world where you're going to leave. When you leave this world, where you're going to go.
You know where religion is? Didn't the Bible, I don't know the Bible like you do, Jordan, but didn't Christ say that don't build buildings to worship me because I am the kingdom within, or something like that?
Yes.
It's all within each one of us. They don't want us to know that. They make us externalize everything.
That's right. And the whole idea is Marxist-Leninism, cultural Marxism, says that the government is the ultimate arbitrator of the world. The government is everything. There is no God. You don't need God. There is no God. You just happen by chance to have been born because the government. And that's why when you're born, they take a baby's feet and they put the black ink on the baby's feet and then press it on a piece of paper, and now they own your soul. This is where it actually comes from.
1934 that started, 1933.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get that black ink off my feet, Jordan. I don't know. Hell.
And anyway. It's just amazing how much the American people just don't know.
No, they never will. You got the millennials now. Unfortunately, there are some listening who are brilliant people, and I honor every one of you. You know damn well the majority of the millennials are headed in the wrong direction. Generation Z coming up next. Why is it the last letter of the alphabet? Because it's the last generation that will actually be anything other than grossly subservient to an artificial intelligence matrix of domination and subjugation. They will have nothing. Gen Z is the beginning of Gen End. That's it.
That's it. And you know, if you remember back when Robert Taylor, the movie star, made the movie back in the 50s, I think it was the early 50s, The Time Machine. If you remember that movie, The Time Machine.
H.G. Wells, of course.
H.G. Wells, The Time Machine. And in the movie, he goes back into time. He goes ahead in time to about our time. This was back in the 50s, and supposedly he was back in the 80s, the 1800s, and he goes ahead into the 20th century and the 21st century, and he finds that all the children all look alike, they all talk alike, they all think alike, and they are totally oblivious to the whole world. They have no idea what they're doing. They just do whatever they're told to do. And when one girl fell in the lake and was drowning, nobody cared. Everybody just watched her drown.
Yeah.
And he went out. The guy went out and saved her.
And
then
And 1960, and it was Rod Taylor, not Robert Taylor. Rod Taylor.
Rod Taylor. Yeah.
1960. Go ahead.
And he asked her, when he pulls her out of the lake, the river, he asked her, "Do you have any books?" And she didn't know what to talk about, books. And he said, the books, paper books. And she said, "I think I remember somebody talking about a book, and it was in a temple somewhere." And so she took him to an old church from hundreds of years ago, and she went back into the back, and she brought out this a safe, and she opened the safe, and there was a book, not books, a book. and she picked up the book and it fell apart in her hands. It was nothing but dust. And so that's where we're going. Nobody reads. Nobody cares to read. Everybody knows what they know, and they believe what they believe.
They've engineered the attention span down now to where no one can stand to read. It's got to be instant visual and emotional gratification with some YouTube video or whatever. The ball game, a score. What's a score in a ball game, Jordan? A score in the ball game. Think about it. There's a build up and there's a score. That's an analogy for the sexual act. Sorry to be a little bit gross. It's a score. All right, everyone likes to see a score. That's what they said. The name of the game.
Game of life is not whether you win or lose, but did you score?
That's right. That's right. I know that sounds a little coarse, but think about it. It's like a symphony orchestra. A great symphony will build up, and then there's a tremendous release. It's a metaphor for the act of
the act
physical
of sex.
love. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why, if you're going to be a minister and a preacher in America, you have to go to a seminary.
Isn't that bizarre? You think about how in our face it all is. Yeah.
It is the most incredible story about how sex is the basis for religion on the earth. All the symbols in the churches are sexual symbols. The emblems in national government are sexual symbols. We have the Washington Monument, which is an Egyptian obelisk.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an Egyptian obelisk. If you look it up in encyclopedias, will tell you it was a male phallic. It's a male erection. And of course, the male erection or the obelisk is pointed toward the female ovaries, or the Washington D.C.'s Oval Office. It's based on the female ovaries, and the male erection is connected directly to the female Oval Office. It's an incredible display.
Oh, no accidents. All this was laid out by people. You have to understand. These people were way, way ahead, or in another realm than the masses. They don't get it. They don't understand the layout of Washington, D.C., the symbolism, which Jordan has spent over half a century studying and presenting. The symbolism is all there. It's all there. But I want to go back to sports. You got to think about this. Score. It's all about scoring, right?
Yep. And the words and the terms that are used in commerce and business, we say that money goes through your hands like water. No, we've now found out that money is considered to be, by banking industry, considered to be water. And therefore, if you can't pay for your house, we say it's underwater. And then you begin to see how many times the word ship, because ships do business on water. So everything is a ship. And this is why you have this, sportsmanship, dictatorship, friendship, and you need to play ball and don't rock the boat. Come on aboard.
Oh, that's linked to admiralty law too, of course.
That's right.
And UCMJ is what we're under. Universal military justice and admiralty courts and ship and the bar, right? The bar.
That's right. Yeah. And when you go into a courtroom, you will see there's a fence and a gate, and the people sit outside the gate. And when they when they call your name, you get up and you put your hand on the gate and walk inside. You have now opened up a water gate. And now you are in hot water, and they're going to have money to bail you out. And if you can't get bailed out, because you're taking on too much water and you're in hot water, then they're going to take your body, which is 76% water, and put you into a battery. They'll put you into a cell. And therefore, your body is in a cell like a battery, and you can now be bought and sold by the corporations that run the world.
They made all of us
horrible.
No, it is. They made all of us into assets of the corporatocracy, the corporate Marxist state in the 1933 That was the end. We were all turned over as collateral.
No doubt about it. And then when you look at the founding fathers of world communism, Marxists and communism, Marx and Trotsky and Lenin, they were all living here in America. They were all working in New York, and they were all trained here in America and sent to Europe to ultimately overthrow the government in Russia and bring about a communist regime. And today, that's what we are now dealing with in Washington, D.C., is the Communist Party in America. The communist operation today is referred to as a democratic society. Now, we are now all over the world spreading democracy, Marxist, Leninist, Soviet communism. That's who we are. That's what we're doing, and therefore I've talked about this before, and it's really something that bothers me bad, is that the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the military, Joint Chiefs of Staff, the heads of the Army, the head of the Navy, the head of the Marines, what in the hell are they doing to get a paycheck? What are they actually doing and accomplishing as a group? The Joint Chiefs of Staff are, in point of fact, according to my opinion, doing nothing. They are letting the American troops go out into the world, into all countries, to defend the dope rings and all the dope that's being
war is a racket. That's Smedley Butler. Yeah, sure.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. And so what is the Joint Chiefs of Staff doing? They're not bringing the troops home to protect our borders. No, they're not doing anything to protect America, the Republic. They just go along to get along and accept their checks, just like the Roman Empire. And one day the empire is going to collapse, and God help your ass when it does. It's going to be horrible when America goes under.
Well,
the Joint Chiefs of Staff will be in their helicopters and their fancy limos with their girlfriends and their boyfriends, and we won't. Well, it's going to be horrible for the American people.
Heading off for their underground bunkers. Look, this is the country's being invaded, clearly,
no doubt about
around the clock by no Muslims. That death cult, sex and death cult, that misogynistic sex and death cult, woman-hating, abusing sex and death cult, coming in here, being implanted all around the country like little bioweapon tumors, bringing their diseases and their hate and their Stone Age mentality, and they're just waiting. They're biding their time. Look what they've done to Europe. The same thing will happen here when they get the guns.
Of course.
We won't be able to stop it.
Once they get over, they're going to do the same thing to America that they've done to Europe, and the motion picture big shots in the motion picture business. They are working for. They're working for the enemies, and
oh, sure. They're creating the reality.
I like the one question one senator asked when they were couple of years ago. I remember they were having some kind of a congressional senatorial hearing, and they asked the Secretary of State. The one senator said, "I have one question to ask you." He said, "I know that you're working hard. I know as a Secretary of State, it's a very difficult job. I know that you're working around the clock, and I know it's very difficult for you." And he said, "You're under a lot of pressure. My question to you is, who are you working for?" Not who pays you. We pay you, but who are you really working for as we pay you?
Gee.
The implication is you're a traitor.
Yeah.
You're a traitor to this country.
Yeah.
You sold your country out for $1. And it's just amazing how much people don't know about what's going on in the world. I've been talking about this for some 59 years, and I'm just tired. I'm not going to be here much longer, and I really would like to finish my work. But it's very difficult when you have nothing and don't have anything, and you can't do much with nothing. And I've tried to do the best I could by just talking, because I don't have the wherewithal.
Sharing your brilliance, Jordan, like you do, is the greatest gift that you can give people. They want to hear you. as you said, most people won't read. They'll look at videos and DVDs, and they'll listen, but they don't read much anymore. And I'm not blaming them. They've been taken down with the greatest skill and scientific social cultural engineering that I've ever seen. That people have no chance. Electromagnetic frequencies, all of these things are taking everyone to the same damn place. They're not all going to go, but the majority, the great majority are. And that's most unfortunate. You need to talk as much as you can, as often as you feel like it. And you're welcome, as you know, always here. So I'll try and get you back on here in a few weeks. We'll tell them again. Tell them again.
Yes, thank you.
Jordan, always good to hear from you. And
thank you.
Take care, my friend, huh?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Always.
Good night.
Good night, Jordan. Jordan's real website, jordanmaxwellshow.com. That's it. Nothing else. jordanmaxwellshow.com. Don't add any other words. Back tomorrow night.